So, with that, in the time period about going on when we were at my aunt's house, and my cousin had asked me my thought process, um, like I felt guilty because I considered it. I considered it, and I felt bad about that. And um, I didn't know what to do. I did have to pray, and the Most High did help me to overcome and also built up me being able to say no. And I'm going to let you know how the Most High did that. While I was in foster care, I had a foster brother. Um, I turned 12 a month after I entered foster care. And I had a brother who was foster brother who was, I believe, between 7 and 9. And normally, this is what happened from my experience. They disclose that the foster child's information to the foster parents, and the foster parents tell their children because they're afraid that the foster children are going to do something to their kids. But from my experience and other foster children, the the kids of the the non-foster kids, they see the foster kids as, oh, you know, something happened to them, they're going to give it up. So my foster brother approached me, and I was scared at first. But then very quickly my brain was like, this little midget, like, he's little, he ain't about to do nothing to me. So I was able to overcome that fear, when he approached me, and like, nah, that's not what's happening, because he was like this little kid. But from other foster kids that I know, um, went through the same thing, and he's not the only one. He's not the only one that approached me in foster. Um, but being messed with, it's like you don't know what to expect. And for me, like, fear came over me. And if he was older, something probably would have happened because I would have been scared, not knowing what or what not to do. But because he was littler than me, I was able to speak up and, like, no. So that gave me practice to be able to tell my cousin no. Um, but anyways, um, the Most High was with me, strengthening me that I not fail, because it was a very confusing experience in foster care. I heard um, some of the adults over talk. I overheard the adults talking, and they were like, "Watch her. She was messed with. You don't know what she might do." But this was done on purpose because they were beating the foster kids. There was this little 5-year-old girl, and they had just left the room for beating the little girl and slamming her into the closet so hard that it knocked the closet down and she fell through it. And I was talking to her and telling her to tell her social workers. And then immediately after that, I hear them say what, I just said. And from that experience, like, I was like never able to really talk to kids again until pretty much started getting over it with my kids. I still like I don't know. Um, but it was just like it made me feel horrible, and I wasn't doing anything but telling them to tell their social workers because they were getting beat. by the foster parents, sisters, and friends. Um, and the social worker would do the same thing. I went to a meeting, and my foster mom used to always tell the social workers, the truth, that I was always a good kid. And the social worker in front of me was like, no kid is that good. She has to be faking or something, make something up if you don't see anything, or else when something happens, people are going to think you're lying. They're not going to believe you. So the social worker in front of me told my foster mom to make stuff up because that I was tricking her, and like all of these things just scarred me and made me a highly unsocial person because of the way that I was treated, and like I was not doing anything. It was actually the kids that were not foster that were approaching the foster kids because they knew what we were been through, and they're little horny kids, and they're trying to find where they can get some. Um, and so it was just a pretty scarring experience. My social workers, I don't know if they were the social workers that used to drive me. I'm not sure if they were my caseworkers or not, but they used to brag about how they intentionally set the program up where the parents aren't able to get their kids back and are adopted at least for a year, and how they get their bonuses, and like they used to just brag about things like that in front of me, like provoking me and stuff like that. um and so I stopped talking also a lot in foster care. um but back to at my aunt's house, i was I was hopeful that things were going to change and get better. Um, and they did not. Um, there was a time my aunt was being assaulted by my uncle, um, and I picked him up and took him off of her because she was crying out for help. And the next day, he came and assaulted me, and it happened to be our birthday. The next day was my birthday. And he was just talking about me because I had holes in my shoes, and like because my aunt was already abusing me. I wasn't allowed to wash my clothes, or I wasn't allowed to be a part of the family. Um, I wasn't allowed to eat. But I used to sneak food, and she thought I wasn't eating. To her, she called one of her friends and lied and told them that I just wasn't eating when I wasn't allowed to, but I was sneaking food, so I was eating. But she was worried because she thought that I wasn't eating, um, because I wasn't allowed to eat, and she would bring me stuff like every couple of days, thinking I would eat it, and I wouldn't because I was already sneaking and eating. Um, but um, but I had told about when I was a child and what my uncle did to my mom, what I seen, and what he had did to me a few days later. And like my aunt, she grabbed my arms behind my back, and my uncle Spartan kicked me in my stomach, and she let me go, and I fell to the ground. And he got on top of me, and he whispered in my ear, "I'll show you a rapist." And he put his self against me and farted on me, and was holding my face down in the grass for a really, really long time. And they called the police on me and said that my aunt would just she was like, say she was going to get me sent to jail, and that she was going to get me sent to a mental ward, and that she was going to get money for me. She used to play mental games with me. And she'd be like, oh, you think this person cares about you? They don't. I'm the only person you have. I'm going to make this up about you. And let's see if they really care about you. Let's see who they're going to believe, you or me. And I would be trying my hardest to tell these people that she's lying. And they'd be like, oh, I'm so ashamed of you. Yeah, you should have just left her in foster care. And so basically, everybody in my family, she did this to, and they all believed her. And that's part of the reason why it used to hurt, because I used to feel like these people cared about me. That's also why I don't care anymore if anybody cared about me or not, because it was all lies, it was all made up, and everybody just started talking down on me so bad for hearsay if they didn't even see. And so she used to play these games with me, and I would be trying so hard to tell people like she's lying. Like one time, like when I was not even one time, when I was on my period, she started, like, at first, the first time, she acted like she didn't have money, and like she acted like she didn't have money to buy me pads, and so I had to bleed on myself. Like, it was horrible. I ended up, like, I was using tissue, and then she beat me for using her tissue, and then I had to cut up my clothes and miss school because I wasn't going to go to school like that. And then afterwards, she was like mocking me, like, you really thought I didn't have money? And she called the family and told the family, like, that she doesn't have any money, she's struggling, that we eat her out of house and home and all this stuff. But then one of my aunts started donating pads, but then she would just come and tear them up and pour stuff all over them. And so, like, I have a problem, like, I am coming out of it, but I used to hoard pads. Um, but I had like a really crazy, excruciating life. But after that day happened with my uncle, like, I used to always run because, like, I would always convince myself I was happy. So I would, like, I would be really depressed, and then like a couple of months, like, I would just be like happy for no reason. And I didn't understand why I was happy. Like, because when I get abused so much, it would go to this point where it's like I go in the back of my head, and it was just like peace. It was just like peace. The most I had me. And I don't know, I would just be happy because he was still bringing me through this, even though I was kind of in disillusionment, thinking I was happy. Um, and yes, I would always run and jump in the bed. Like, I had this thing, like, I didn't, like, I was just here and there. Like, I used to get in trouble for that all the time. Like, they people like, slow down. Like, I was here and I was there. Like, I didn't take time doing anything. Like, I had to just get up and do it. So I was like, I would always jump in the bed. And that day, I was just felt so beat down, and I was walking tired and slow, and I was walking up the stairs, and I was upset, and I was talking to the Most High, and I was like, why am I being punished? And like, that I'm innocent, Father, like, I'm innocent. Why am I being punished? Like, why does my body feel like this? And so I'm mad, talking to the Most High in disappointment, and I get up and slowly pull my covering off, and it's filled with dirt and shards of glass. And I was like, I just had to thank the Most High. Like, I'm sitting here being ungrateful, going off, upset, when this was happening to my body, because the Most High knows that I run every day and jump in my bed. And there's shards of glass in my bed. Like, whenever I used to use the bathroom, whenever I used to poop, I would get cussed out. Like, my aunt would try to get me in the mindset of going to jail. Like, if you go to jail and it's stinking like that, they gonna beat your ass. So I'm gonna beat your ass because you gonna go one day. And like I used to get beat for the stupidest things. Like, I'd be getting dressed to go to school in the morning, and she'd just come and try to rip my clothes off of me. She would try to put me out of the house butt naked and mock me and make fun of me. And like, she did a couple of times, and I would try to hurry up and grab clothes because I didn't want anybody to see my body, and I'm getting dressed outside while she's throwing water on me and telling me that my dad raped me and that I'm a crack baby. And like, it was just for no reason. Like, the things that I went through, not for no reason, because I belong to the Most High. And it was more than just physical. It was the devil trying to distract me and take me off of a course from seeking the Most High, because I was seeking the Most High and still am seeking the Most High. And my life has been excruciating, but I know and believe in the Most High's word that the things that I have endured is not the things in the life to come. Like, it can't compare to. It can't compare to those things. But I had problems later on not understanding why why it affected me the way that it did. Like, I expected to just be okay. I expected to just be okay. And I still need healing. I still need to heal. The things that happened was not my fault. I do need healing. The Most High is healing me. Um, I don't understand everything. Going through that experience made it extremely hard being a parent. One being breastfeeding was extremely hard. Changing my child's diaper and bathing them was extremely hard. I have panic attacks when I tell my child to count to 10 because of me being molested. So when I speak, like, I have to fight panic attacks. Sometimes, like, my head twitches, and I still don't understand those things. Like, it's really hard sometimes for me to deal with things and explain them to my child. Why mommy is like this. You know why it's hard for me to have a conversation. Why I freak out sometimes if you just randomly give me a hug or a kiss. It's hard, but I also know 100% factual that the Most High is, because He has been with me my entire life. I would not be alive. I would not be alive if He was not real. I don't I don't understand the things that I go through. Not the things that I go through in the physical realm, but the things that I go through mentally that I have to overcome. Like, like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I 100% know the Most High is real. I am where I am today because of Him. He showed me in a dream, in a vision, that I would be here. And now I have people trying to